Let's go. Welcome to the special edition. Layman's would call this an interview. I call it a celebration. My name is Danny Orange. Used to be known as Mr. White Folks when I served in the United States Army. I still hold by that. Always, once Mr. White Folks, always Mr. White Folks. I am joined in Subordinate Records. Two of the real power players here. We are celebrating the Nation Gang release, which has been in my ear a lot, and so you can hear the sound of the shells hitting the pavement. It is stacking chips on records, crushing every single enemy.
Yes, sir.
Scorsese, and PR the Great. PR the Great. We are joined here. So I wanted to start out by saying, obviously, congratulations to you, Mr. Scorsese. You sat right there. You were one of the first people to do the Zoom interview with me.
Yes,
you
sir.
said in that interview, when you do your end of year lists, Midnight Express will be there. You
Talk
said
to
it.
me.
You called
Talk to me. Talk to me.
If you go to the video, you can see my face go, because I'm like,
to be fair, I talked a lot of shit.
You did.
It's something I do well. People always say if you can talk a lot of shit, you should be able to rap pretty well.
Yep.
Facts. And me and PR are both coaches. We both coach football, basketball, etc. And we talk about, sometimes your words, you got to manifest something. You got to put a little pressure on yourself. And sometimes the pressure will make you work harder. Sometimes the pressure will break you. I went everywhere. I did a crazy discussion run with a lot of people about music.
Right.
And I talked about three things. I talked about Midnight Express. I talked about Insubordinate Records. And I always mentioned the Nation Gangs. I told them, I said, I know that what I got with Midnight Express is something special. But I know what's coming next is just as special. And my man PR, Black, Big Spit Game, they trusted me enough to be like, we know you got Midnight Express coming. We know you got East Hampton Polo Boys coming. We can wait. And that was a real hard conversation for me to have because truthfully, before quarantine, Nation Gang was supposed to be a summer record.
Right.
Like we were supposed to be outside with that. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully you was gonna be outside in your East Hampton Polo Boy shorts, playing boat shoes. You know what I mean? It's supposed to be a lot of fun. So that's why I said, like, I knew Midnight Express was gonna pop up on people's lists. And I feel crazy that we had to drop Nation Gang so late because I feel like people are gonna get this and be like, wow, if he would have gave me this 3 months ago, maybe this is gonna be included too. Because I'm so proud of what we put together, and I've been proud of it. It's been tough, man. That's part of the being a label owner is having to like make crazy decisions like this, like what should drop, when should it drop, what does it sound like, and you know what I mean. Again, always to PR and Black and Speeds really for trusting me enough with this project and saying, yo, Shells, we know you got something, do your thing. We know you're gonna set us up correctly. Right. And that's, I mean, we're gonna get into all of that. I feel like hold up. You got me talking all nostalgic and poetic. Hold the fuck up.
And that's what you could see my face on the video when you say, I'm like, because I'm like, there's so much good music in 2020, right? Yes. We're like, Small Bills and Armand Hammer, and you're gonna be on that list. And I swear, Midnight Express never left my rotation. It's just, and I think what it comes down to, and this flows into the Nation Gang, it's the kind of music that might be missing, like really might be. It was one of the questions I had here is the muscle in this album missing in rap as a genre?
Yes.
We have political, personal, bouncy, fun rap, but we used to have more muscular, essentialist rap.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense?
That's perfect. That's a perfect way to explain it. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been threatened on a record. You know what I'm saying? Or felt threatened. I felt threatened, you know, like, oh man, I might not want to mess with that dude, or, you know, them jokers right there, man, you might want to stay. I mean, you talk about dudes like MOP and, you know what I mean, a couple of dudes like that. It's like, yo, y'all stay clear of them dudes, you know what I mean? You never know, the locks, jokers like that. Mm-hmm. And I feel like with us, man, it's not as on that level, but it's real tough. It's rough stuff. It's grimy. You know what I'm saying? It's so poetic. A lot of tracks are poetic, but at the same sense, man, it's so dope, man. It's so crazy how three totally different styles of MCs can come together and make a project sound so cohesive. I didn't think it would be a day where we'd be able to do it. The fact that we was able to do it, I'm really excited, man. This is my first like official release in 13 years. Mm-hmm. So I haven't released anything in that long. I've obviously recorded in that time frame with mixtapes and stuff like that, but it's really been 13 years since I've actually released an album to the public for, you know, for consumers and things like that. And I'm super excited, man. I'm ready for everybody to hear it. I've let a couple people hear some things, but I don't want to take away. I don't like when people listen to my music when I'm around, because I don't want you to feel obligated to nod your head and tell me this shit is hot. Like, I'd rather you completely listen to everything by yourself in your car or whatever, headphones, and then you tell me, give it an honest listen, and then you tell me what you think. And that's, I think we're gonna come out on the good end of this one. I believe it.
And it's honestly, PR, it's one of the things that got me doing this. Like, I'm a writer, and I've written short stories, plays, poetry, blah, 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 all that. And you would hand something, I'd hand, you know, this giant thing to somebody, they'd read it and they'd be like, it's good. You know, like, it wouldn't, it's just like, how you have an ambivalent reaction? I worked on this for months. If there's a real depth there, and you know, people only catch so much or whatever, you know? So this leads me to a tease. Later on in this thing, I will tell you the pro wrestler that has meant the most to my life.
Okay.
I don't know if I told you this last time.
No.
Still, but I grew up on pro wrestling. I'm very familiar with the nation. I'm very familiar with Ron Simmons and the history of black wrestling.
Let's go.
I have one particular wrestler who is someone who's a center for me spiritually there when I in this creative stuff. So, but we're talking about crew dynamics are very important, right? I've always said that group albums are a dance of voices. It's not just about content, right? The voices have to set each other off, right? You know, the example I kind of come back to is UGK with the technician and the madman, and how that really is awesome.
That's perfect.
That's a big influence for us as from a Zip Squad perspective. You know, obviously with Pimp C, Cool Breeze. I was actually listening to Black Superhero music today, ironically enough, and I was thinking about how that album sounds like. You know, it was functionally it's a collection of records, but you know, we were able to make that, to maestro that, and everybody sounds like they have a place and a part all throughout that record.
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the crew, I will tell you, and this is nothing against the crew, I was very worried before I pressed play, right? Because when someone who's like a very high-level MC says, I'm putting out a crew record, you always have that worry where, you know, you've pressed play like I've pressed play, where, you know, first dope is killer, second guy's good, then it's Fred, and you're like, who put Fred on here? And I'm always sitting there. Like, as I got older, I started to, you know what? Fred's a great guy. He bakes things for people on their birthday. He's really funny. That's how he gets on these records. He's a lovely person, and they put him on there. They're just like, if you knew Fred, you'd know. But I don't know Fred, so it sucks, right? But like, there's none. Like, when I pressed play on the Domination EP, my first thought was, holy shit, I'm back in state property freeway era. Like I'm back during like the rock days. Like this is like fun. This is fun to listen to.
Can I? So what you just mentioned, that you know, that idea like crew dynamics and how all these things came together, because it's crazy. Like you know, none of us grew up together, but we all kind of came together. You know what I'm saying? Like I look at PR, and just so people understand, like when PR talks about he hasn't recorded for you know, or not recorded, but he hasn't released a project for 13 years. PR is that dude in Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying that because he's here. I'm not saying because we know like PR still gets played on the radio every day in Philadelphia, sports radio, like literally every day. Like his voice comes up on the radio and people have heard him, even if they don't even know who it is.
Wow.
You know what I mean? You're talking about like he's done projects with K Slay. He's, you know what I'm saying? Like he is literally that dude. And so for me, it's always been an honor to rap with him and more importantly, watch him work. Then, you know, you got our young bull Black. And to me, like you see me say this, you see me like retweet his lyrics, and sometimes I'll just say his stuff out loud. I marvel at like his wordplay and go like, man, I wish I would have met him like 7-8 years ago, because I probably wouldn't be rapping. I'd be managing him. I'd be guiding his career and getting him somewhere different. Like, man, he's so dope. And you know, obviously Speeds is, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, when the general surface, when he show up. So, you know, I always look at myself, and you know, I've told them, I was like, yo, man, I feel like I'm the worst dude in the crew, but not in a negative sense. It's always like, man, like these dudes got like, you guys are so ill. Y'all do so many things that musically, lyrically, tonally, I'm still figuring out in my own head. You know, I never stopped growing as a writer or stop growing as an artist. But I'll hear PR say something ill and be like, damn, why did I think of that? Or, you know, like I'm telling you, like his verse on Boat Shoes almost sat me down.
Right.
Like like I had a whole different verse for Boat Shoes and I had to delete it and just sit back down at this. And I got something different. I'm gonna get murdered over here. And that's why it was important for me to make sure all these dudes not only were represented, but that I wanted people to hear them even more than me. Even though I rap on everything, it was like, nah, PR. Like when we were working on something, I'd be like, yeah, I wrote my verse, but PR, you got to go first. Nah, Black, you go first. Yo, PR, do the hook. Yo, Black, do the hook. You know what I'm saying? I might have wrote a part of it or came up with the idea, but like, yo, you do this. And PR, I think this is where our chemistry has grown. PR would sit back and he do the PR move.
Yep.
He'd think about it for a second and go, nah, Shells, we ain't doing that. And I could respect him enough to be like, okay, bet. So what we gonna do? Right. And he said, you know what? I got something. And he would go and he would flip it. Or Black. And Black is funny because Black, he said, all I do is I drink, I go up and I rap. You say where I go and I'm gone.
Yep.
And that's just that's how our chemistry really just kind of blended and worked. And that's what I wanted people to hear. Cause like you said, right? Like Benny dropped the Black Soprano Family right after he dropped his big project. And people were like, it's cool.
Right.
And that was low key, that was in the back of my mind. Cause that's when I was ordering like my projects and like, when does something have to come out? Cause it's, you know, obviously like East Hampton Polo Boys was called a summer catalog. I can't drop that in December.
Right.
You know what I mean? Midnight Express was already set. And so I was like, man, I got to move Nation Gang. And it's going to feel like that. Like I drop Midnight Express, I drop a solo, then I come back with a group. And that's why you see, like, even when you see me order the names in the group, it's always intentional. Everything I do is intentional. It's always PR, Black, Big Spit Game, Shells.
Right.
I'm not the leader of this crew. I'm not ahead or above anybody in the crew. You know what I mean? I consider all them dudes better than me. And it's an honor for me to get them out because, you know what I'm saying? Like you said, right? Siegel was the leader of the prop, but depending on what song it was, like, dang, I like Oskino, one of my favorite rappers.
Right.
Man, I love Sparks. Like Sparks' style influences me. So I like listening to Owen Sparks. I like Chris, Neefy. You know what I mean? Sometimes I just want to hear free.
Yeah. I'm with it, man. I wanted to do some research before I came here. So I've certainly listened to a lot, listened to Black superhero music, Harlem Heat. You know, I was in the annals here going through it, and in the spirit of like NBA Draft.net, I have some comps, some flow comps. For the crew members.
Okay.
I never heard this before because I was like, he didn't comp me last time.
Yep. It's so I got the Mavis Black, Big Spit Game, Scorsese, PR. I've got you guys. Let me see here. That was the. So by the way, that was the group I was trying to think of with that present was the East Siders. Do you remember the East Siders?
Of course.
Oh,
This is a crazy old-fashioned way. That's one of my favorite fucking records.
An incredible thing for Snoop to do at the height of his popularity, to just fall into the mix with these two like just killers and just highlight them, give them, and just bars everywhere. And he never put them behind him. He never, it was great. So
I love the East Siders, bro. Like me growing up in Jersey, the influences are heavy with New York, obviously, and Philly when the Rock really touched down in Philly when Sieg and all them boys jumped out, and when Outkast and all them boys. So but I'm telling you, not a lot of people around here appreciated West Coast rap. They would ride with Snoop a little bit. They would fuck with Dre.
Right.
You know what I mean? But bro, I'm talking some deep like West Coast shit, man.
Yep.
Quick, all them boys. You know what I mean? So when you say the East Side, when you say the man, let me tell you, bro. The biggest surprise was hearing them on the Rough Riders Volume 2.
Oh right, yes.
That was the biggest surprise to me because I was like, see, this is what I'm talking about now. Everybody's starting to recognize it. You know what I mean? That rap is bigger than where we are here on the East Coast. You know, and once people recognize that, I think rap would be in a better place, man.
Totally. Yeah, so here's some comps, and I guess we'll start with PR. Why not? So with listening to PR for the first time, I was absolutely struck by the friendly versatility of what he could do, right? That like he's always the lead character. You're always rooting for him, right? He's never, but any kind of song, it doesn't matter. Boat Shoes is his song. Like that's
PR's record.
That's PR's. So I really thought about Young Chris or Warren G as the comps. So guys who could make it sound easy. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense, and I love both of them.
Yep.
I love both of them. Love Warren G. Love Young Chris. You know what I'm saying? I mean, shit. Who wouldn't? You know what I mean? Like, I never thought about it that way. I don't try to emulate any one of them.
Right.
But the way you explain it, it makes total sense to me. Yeah. I mean, I don't. What I do, I'm a realist. What I do isn't complex when it comes to writing.
Right.
I just try to. I get right to the points. I get to the talking points. I don't beat around the bush. I'm not trying to set shit up. I'm really just trying to explain to you how it is, and that's how I am in life. If you know me, I don't bite my tongue. I don't hold back. How I feel is how I'm going to tell you, and that's how I approach really every song.
See, Pete. So that actually makes a ton of sense. Like one thing I've always marveled with PR, and not just like his writing style, but like also his delivery, is his ability to make things that sound like real simple. They make you stop and think. People talk about like flows and like outbarring people and all these other little like crazy like internet concepts. But for me, the bar that stands out that makes you like say it out loud just in like random situations, like his like PR verse on Press Start is a perfect example, right?
Right.
He sets this incredible scene, you know what I mean, about like a dude getting caught with his cell phone and the warden, he can't get the warden for help. And the whole time PR just getting a haircut because he know they got to call him because he the boss. And if you don't call him, like, yo, you about to be dead. And I sat there and I was just like, yo, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? How am I supposed to come after this? Because it was so It's so ill. Like I said, hot tub combos, steam room meetings, just to get my day started. Find out who eating, who getting shorted, who getting extorted, calling up the ward, it's not getting through. And it's such a, again, right? Like we talk a lot about like dudes like Rock Marcy and like how they do like these quick snapshots. Like they're just looking in a room. That's what PR sound like. He always sounds like he's the coolest dude in the room. Right. And everybody knows who he is, but they don't quite know what he does. But they know not to say nothing to him unless they know him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they know, like, yo, if I say the wrong thing or I do the wrong thing, I might not be here tomorrow. And it's rare, like, because it's a lot of that is presence. It's just like sheer vocal presence. And like you said, he owns Boat Shooters. Like he owned it we listened to that beat at the same time. Same studio session, you know what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying? He lived in Jersey. I live in D.C., Maryland. And so we met up at the stew. I had all the beats in a folder, just like, it was like 100 beats. And we would sit there and engineer would click. He'd be like, no, hold up, no.
That went on for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, he would just click, and then Boat Shoes came on, and he said, "Okay, bet."
Yep.
And he leaned back, and he just pulled out. He just started writing, and so I'm like, "All right, bet, we on this." And immediately my brain went to a hook before I went to a verse.
Right.
I'm thinking like, okay, I can come up with something like this. It's real, glitzy, and I can. And I heard him come on. I heard him go in that room, and our engineer, Money Most, shout out to Fly Zone. He said the same thing. He turned in the seat, and he rarely turns when he's working. He'll, he'll do it afterwards.
Right.
He turned and he's like, "Shells, what you gonna do with this?" And I'm sitting here. I was sitting there. I was on my phone. I'm trying not to listen. At the same time, I'm like, "Oh man, I just want to feel the breeze, sand in between my toes, flip for the OG, sipping Bel Air." And he just, again, it's just that ability to set a scene. And when he came out, the first thing Mo said was like, "Okay, I see you, Rick Ross." and it wasn't in a negative sense.
Oh shit.
It was just such a crazy, again, there's no punchlines.
Right.
There's no metaphors. It's nothing complex, but every single line was intention. It was delivered with intent. It was designed to take you away from wherever you are. You know what I mean? Whether you're sitting in the middle of Delaware, whether you freezing in the Arctic, and you just like, man, I do want to feel the breeze and in between my toes. Like it's a really powerful image. And I think the imagery that PR brings, man, to this whole project, and I can name hundreds of bars.
No, it's high. The high level writing in terms of, some people who know that I know stuff about rap music, they'll come up to me and say, "Hey, what is the smartest like verse you've heard?" Or and I get the vibe, like they want me to be like, "Lupe was a cheeseburger once and he warned us about nutrition." I don't know, thank you. But like friend or foe, like Jay on Friend or Foe, the beauty of that writing is the implied imagery. Oh, and these kids, and he's showing you people you can't see that you can see now that he's told you about. Right? So when the sand is in your toes, your mind puts together the environment.
Yep.
And now he's giving you that image. You know what I mean? That's beautiful.
That was the intent. I mean, that, like I said before, man, I don't want to keep repeating it, but my how I was brought up in this is, if you can't be that punchline guy, if you ain't witty enough, don't do it. Stay in your lane. Whatever your lane is, you perfect your lane. You know what I'm saying? You perfect it, and then you present it to the world. So from 19 years old, if you listen to everything I've done, the voice may have changed a little bit because I got older, but the message and the delivery and the simplicity, it's all still the same, man. It's all in your face, and it's all right there. And sometimes I may throw things in there that are subliminal, and you may, because I'm an avid movie watcher,
Right.
So I may throw in weird shit that I've seen in a movie.
Yep.
Only if you're a weirdo like me and you vibe with that movie where you may catch a certain line. Or, you know, like I put in the line, I don't even remember what song it was, but I said I'm top 5, no die line. That's the hill I die on. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So again, you were like, well, what the fuck does that mean? But if you fuck with Dave Chappelle, you got to understand where when he was playing Dylon, he was like, my top 5 MCs are Dylon, 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 Dylon.
Yep.
And that's just me being a fucking weirdo sometimes, whenever I'm writing. But
it's incredible. Let me move forward here, and I really want to talk about one of my favorite parts of this album is Black. Because
mine too.
Mine three.
You guys can answer this for me. Did Black say "Prisoner of the Grave"? I accept neither.
Yeah. Yeah, "Prisoner of the Grave." I accept neither.
That is like it. That's where I got his comp of Big Psych from the Outlaws. Just like Big Psych. The other comp is Phife Dawg. Basically, that we're talking about song stealers, right? People who, you know, they're not going to throw a lot of punches, but they're landing 68% of those punches. So his efficiency is insane.
Yes.
And there's just no fat on anything he does.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. That's perfect. That's the that is the perfect way to explain every single verse. He does not waste time. He doesn't waste a line. He doesn't waste. There's no black air or there's no dead air.
Filler.
No nothing. No filler. No nothing.
You know what I mean?
It's constant. That's perfect. I love the way you put that together. That's perfect.
I think when you think about Black, and one thing that's always marveled me about Black from the first time I heard him, which was crazy. He had sent me some, he knew that I was rapping, I was making music, and he was like, yo, Shells, you mind if I send you a couple freestyles? I did. I was like, yeah, go ahead. You know, at this time, you know, I was literally, I think I had just released like the very first like Zip Squad project. You know what I mean? So this was Just As Promised. Like this is like the first project I'd ever released, I'd ever thought about making and putting music out. And he sent me these 3 records and I couldn't stop spinning them. I was just like, this dude, and you know, like we all from Philly, South Jersey, you know what I'm saying? So it's all that same energy of just like bars, punchlines. But the way he was saying certain things, and even now, like on you know, he's like, you a goofy doing it for IG, sheesh. Even in your hood, you need an ID, sheesh. And turn like just, I mean, and I you know, you just get stuck listening to this dude sometimes. Like, yo, you are so ill, and he does it, and he says some of the craziest things that, you know, most people would inflect them differently. Like from now we talking like like we would say it angry, or we'd say it sad, and he says it just completely deadpan.
Totally. Well, that's yes, and I think you guys had mentioned that on one of the track breakdowns you posted. I'm never ready for a Black joke because he's
not sure if he's joking.
I just don't see it coming, and because I'm not ready, it's funny as shit. Like what was it, a Pishkabibbles or a Mishkabibbles or whatever?
Mishkabibbles.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? It's amazing.
Like, what's crazy?
He rhymed instrumentals with Ishkabibbles. It's never ever going to be done again.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to be able to rhyme Ishkabibbles with anything.
Right.
I mean, I'm willing to put money on that. So, I mean, my favorite lines are all my niggas stay fly like a go route. Like, huh? Whoa.
Right.
Like, whoa. Like, wait a minute. Like, this is what you want? And I'm like, now I gotta rap with this guy? I gotta deal with this?
Listen, that's so you can imagine, like, and when we hear these joints, like, look, my favorite line on the album, on the entire album, is on Now You Can't Leave, and it's from Black. And when Black is talking about, he said, in my dreams I see lean. He said, it ain't what it seemed. He said it's heaven or hell, and it ain't in between.
Right.
They threw perks on his casket. Me, I hated that scene. He was a gunner, you bastard. You made him a fiend. And that's probably the only time, like literally, that song and that line is the only time he ever ad-libs. Because he goes, yeah, motherfucker. Like, that's probably the real, because look, understand, Black is both his rap name. That's the only name we know him by.
Right.
I still don't know this man's real name. I don't know him for almost 10 years.
That's awesome.
And we just call him Black. He's just Black.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so to hear that line and to hear him open up about his end, I get that because I've watched that happen. I've watched people, you know what I'm saying, go to a funeral and they throw, you know what I'm saying, perks, and they throw some weed. And it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to the parents, disrespectful to the person, because you transform them into something that they're not. And to hear that, and, you know, obviously with my brother passing earlier this year, like that line carried even more meaning.
Right. Because
everybody kept coming up to me, how did your brother die? How did your brother die? How did your brother die? And when I would explain it to them, they would go, wait, what? For real? You sure it wasn't? And I'm like, why does my brother have to be anything but what I'm telling you?
Right.
And I would always go back to that line. Like, y'all kept trying to make him something, and he wasn't. He just, you know, he passed away, and it hurts.
Yeah.
And man, like, incredible artist, man. Incredible artist.
Yeah, I mean, that's really one of the most important things is, I mean, and there's been a lot of discussion online. Shout out to Gvng online, who's doing a lot of good discussion about rappers from tough environments making music about it and getting exploited kind of by all white companies who are trafficking in black pain and suffering. And there's a difference between, like, you know, kind of sensationalist stuff and grounding people in a moment and making them feel that shit. And it's, you know, like when my wife saw me watching Narcos, she was like, how is this not exploitative? I'm like, they make you feel every death, man. They make you feel every loss, man. You don't get off easy. And that's definitely present here because, you know, we can talk about it, but like, this is not just a romp. There is like real pro-black discussion. There's real discussion about, you know, racism and systemic issues in American society. And it's important, and it's woven into the fabric of it. So it doesn't have to, it's not a very special episode of anything.
Yeah,
exactly.
But
yeah, you know, I mean, when we say nation gang, nation of domination, and that was always what fascinated me about the Nation of Domination, and why when we first together for our first mixtape, I was like, nah, that's the name, because here are these four African Americans, these four black men, and they're saying, yo, the company that we work for treats us differently because we're black. And you have this large crowd of primarily white people booing the hell out of them for saying that, hey, maybe the America that you love is not the America that I'm a part of. Maybe the people that you say are supposed to be, and it was always this weird like juxtaposition, like, why are they booing them? Because when I hear what he says, and he goes, hey, like when Farouk's like, why didn't I get a title shot?
Right.
I haven't lost a match in months. Why did suddenly this white guy come and get a title shot? Why did Vader or Undertaker, whoever, get a title shot?
Right.
And you just hear these massive boos. And, you know, even as a kid, that threw me off. Because I'm like, he's got a point. Why are they booing him? And
he's the bad guy because he wants the same chance. That's
correct.
Right.
He wants the same chance to win or lose that everybody else does. And so, you know, a lot of people have asked about even like, yo, why'd y'all flip the A upside down? What does nation gang mean? What does that mean? And what's the crown for? Like all those different elements that, again, like me, PR, Black, we all talked about, like, yo, what do we want our stuff to look like? What do we want these things to mean? And that was the big one, was like, nah, man, these are kings, man. They're walking in their truth and they're walking in their power.
Right.
That's really what we're doing, man. We're writing our truth. We're writing how we feel. And most importantly, the goal should be to uplift. Maybe you're not uplifting the people who come into the project with why are they saying this? Why did PR talk about, yo, you know what I'm saying, with the windows down? That's nation music. I'm riding around with my top down, living life. Why did they make a boat shoes? Why did they make a song Henny No Mix and they're celebrating having a drink? You know, like you want people to go, no, they're talking about how good things can come from even the worst environments, man. Like Till Death is a perfect example, man. One of my favorite joints, and that's really what the song is about. It's probably the only time I've ever talked about like when I got shot on a record. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And I threw it in, but I kept talking about all these good things that were going on too, about getting my clothes right and going out, and you know what I'm saying? And
right.
PR, he talks about his car accident, you know what I'm saying? And then even then with that, he keeps going about good stuff. Black, hey, when I remember when I was a kid and I'm trying to get a girl and I just want to talk to her, and you have a friend? Like, these are all they're all realities from where we came from.
Right.
But at the same time, it's still just powerful, real music, and that's what we wanted. That's what I mean from my point of view. As I chose producers and I presented them music, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, listen to this dude, listen to this, listen, what you think about this? Like, there's like 4 or 5 versions of Boat Shoes as a beat.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even after we did the original, I was still reaching out to producers. There's so I guess because nobody knows this yet, there's a Sonny Jim version of Boat Shoes.
Oh wow.
And that's if you cop the physical, that's gonna be on the physical. So you'll actually get to hear it. It's track 14.
I'm into it.
You know what I mean? There's the expert version of the of Boat Shoes. And there's like 2 more. There's like 2 more. But it was always about how are we presenting this message in a way that people can enjoy it and hear it, and hopefully when they're singing along with it and they're rapping along with it and they're vibing, and whether it's headphones or car, that they're consistently going, wait a minute. Yo, he dropped the mean jewel right there. Yo, Shell said something ill. Yo, Black said something ill. Yo, that hook. Wait a minute. What do you mean in a hook when he said, a toast to prosperity in life? Maybe do the impossible. Yeah, maybe twice. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yep.
These are messages that are embedded within a lot of pain. They're messages that are embedded in a lot of triumph. And again, like we all record these joints together. We all get together at a studio. So it's not like, it's different than like, yo, I'm emailing my verse to PR,
right?
Or
it
Black
like
sending me his verse. Yeah, like Black and PR usually hit the wheel. They drive down to meet me, so they get 2 hours in the car just to talk, shoot the shit, and vibe. And then when we get together, it's a family reunion.
Yep, every time.
That's evident in the music. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so much better to win together and to have that as the joy of it. Like that's a big thing. So moving through with the comps, Big Spit Game. I've got Cool Breeze or Mr. Mike. Who I'm going? I'm going Mr. Mike.
Yo, stop playing. Cool Breeze, the hook killer, man. Watch for look. Yep. And that's perfect. Like, usually when you think so, Cool Breeze is low key one of my favorite rappers. That's why I go by Lord Jones, because Lord Jones is Sidney Lord Jones from the movie Cool Breeze.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Yeah.
So that's where that comes from. Scorsese Lord Jones is from Cool Breeze. But yeah, that's how we got Speeds. That's a whole PR idea actually. PR started that whole idea about when he did Henny No Mix. That's his line, and he turned it into a hook. And so we were waiting for Speeds to show up to a session, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fuck with him. I'm gonna make every hook on the album some of his lines because I know so many of his songs.
Yeah.
And I just kept flipping different hooks, and they kept coming out so fire. And unfortunately, he wasn't able to make a session to record. And so I was like, yo, we gonna keep these hooks. Cause my man's gotta appear somehow.
Right.
And that's why you see me whenever I talk about the Nation Gang. It's never me, PR, and Black. It's all 4 of us. Cause he brought us together with the mixtape. He was on the timeline and was like, yo, who wanna do a mixtape with me? And immediately all 3 of us, and we're all in the squad, we were like, nah, we doing this. And we just started, we literally started emailing beats. We recorded it. I think the Nation of Domination mixtape was maybe a 2-week process.
Yep.
To get done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it was just us, like every time we were like, okay, bet, I gotta write something hotter.
Yep.
And we dropped it. And then, Dangerous Alliance, Harlem Heat, and then now we here.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just more. It feels fun. It's an album that feels fun. You can feel the interaction, and so the success can be the delivery of this. Like, you can have fun with us, and it makes it better. So Scorsese, the thing I admire with Scorsese is that we talked last time about the swing in your voice, and how it's something that you manage, and on this album you really do make it into an asset with the Henny No Mix delivery. There's just a few times where you're able to really take it and make it work in a way no one else can do it. So I appreciate that. I had 2 comps, which was Gucci Mane and Sauce Money.
Yo, let's go.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's low key. Like it's
perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
The thing about Gucci because people might be like, well, Gucci's a legend, and I'm like, he's the legend now. I was there when he was coming up, and everybody was calling it trash, and we were getting into arguments with people, and you're like, look up the lyric sheet. This shit is insane. There's flipping words like you've never seen them flipped before. His delivery's totally different. The beats he picks are totally different. He was in a whole different lane. He created an entire genre.
One thing people never always forget about Gucci in particular was how technical he is from finding a pocket. One of my Chris Wright, actually, the producer for Ahmed Johnson, one of his favorite things he'll tell me anytime he's working on one of my songs, he's like, yo, you just like Gucci. I wish I could just nudge your vocals just a little bit. He says you're in pocket, but if I could just take every Gucci Man song in the world and just nudge him just a little bit, become a audio engineer standpoint, it probably drives him crazy. But he also was like, but he's so in pocket.
Right.
And everything is like really precise. And, like on this project, I think that was something because like this project was recorded as I was working on Midnight Express. I started this actually before I started Midnight Express. So, you can kind of tell some tonal differences.
Yep.
And as I got into Midnight and I was working with other artists and really kind of branching out and starting the label, and we came back in and we did another session. And I remember Welcome's the perfect example.
Yep.
I had that verse for the beat, and I was like, man, like these two killed it with the real regular flow. And I said, I told him, I said, watch this, I'm about to go do my West Side Gun on y'all one time. And P was like, yo, don't do that. And I said, nah. And I was like, nah, fuck all that. I'm about to do this. And that's where you get that you want a ball like Rodman, you'll be wrestling with your life. You know what I mean? And
it's the perfect way. It feel, and I don't know if you saw this on my breakdown of that verse.
Yes.
That is the perfect example of how this album goes. You know what I'm saying? Because of how Black started it, and I continue, and I blend it between Black and Shells, and Shells ends it perfectly, and that's the exact way that this album goes, man. The front part of this album is so like dynamic, and it jumps at you, and in the middle, we give you Toast and a lot of other things that you could vibe to, and it blends it to the way we end this album, real gritty, fresh start, and a time for burning, and heavy talk, and I'm telling you, man, it was, I don't know if we did it on purpose or the gods allowed us to do it that way, but I'm just happy that it's put together the way it is, because I think it syncs perfectly. I think everything we've done, I couldn't ask for a better mix, and I'm ready for people. I'm ready to see people's reactions to this. That's what I'm waiting on.
Like what P just said is crazy, because like we like heavy, like Henny No Mix, right? Henny No Mix was me and P were talking about doing a record, and we actually got a record. We're gonna talk about Doom in a second, because when you mentioned like Black excellence in rap, like we actually, me and P, we got Doom coming. You know what I mean? But he had Henny No Mix just as a record, and he sent it to me, and I was like, okay, I'm fucking with it. And he was like, yo, I want to get you and Speeds on. I'm gonna keep this for my solo project. And so I went, and at the time it didn't have that what's the little refrain I do?
Henny Black, Henny Brown, Henny White, hey, right. The OJ the Juice. The
OJ the Juice. Yep. It was just the OJ the Juice. And it was because there was like that little 4-bar break before the hook came on. And I was like, man, I'm gonna feel that. And I was like, what should I do with it? And it's crazy you mentioned Gucci because I was like, yo, I got to do my OJ the Juice on this. And I was like, man, Pico hate this. But I'm going to do it anyway, and I'm going to send it to him. And if he don't like it, we can delete it.
Right.
And he was like, yo, nah, we keeping that. He said, we going to keep that at the end. We keeping that. And we actually lost, like, track of that joint. Like, Dope Pesci got low for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And so we almost scrapped it. And P every time I talked to P, he would always bring it up. Yo, what about Henny No Mix? What about Henny No Mix? And the album was starting to form. But then the dude, shout out to Chillion Davis, man. Chillion had me hot. Because we were trying to buy we were trying to buy some beats from him, and he kept coming in. The price was just too high, and I was like, man, fuck this dude, man. He's trying to rob me. I'm not buying these beats.
Yep.
Fuck that. And I was all the way in my shells bag, and so I was like, nah, we gonna get somebody else. I'm gonna get somebody hotter than him. I'm gonna pay for it. And we ended up Sonny Jim. I let them hear some Sonny Jim work, and was like, yo, what y'all think about this dude? Like, I love him, but again, this isn't my album, so I gotta let y'all hear it too. And they were like, nah, we fuck with him. Yo, and I reached out, and Sonny just sent us back heat. And like, P got Till Death. And I remember,
right,
me and P normally text. You know what I mean? P called me. Like I sent him the song, and like 3 minutes later, I got a phone call. So he was
So I had to listen to the whole song. It wasn't no fake listen.
Right.
I listened to it. And then I played it back one more time,
okay.
just the first verse. And there's only like 3 songs that I've ever been a part of that have given me chills,
yep,
chills and tears. And Till Death was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And right then and there, because I was having reservations about this album and how it was forming, and I was, we was having an issue with Chillion Davis and we couldn't find Dope Pesci for Henny No Mix, and I was just getting frustrated with the whole thing. And we men, so life's taking us in different turns.
Mm-hmm.
But when I heard that, I said, "Yeah, we got a breakthrough.
Yep,
we got a breakthrough." So shout out to Chillion for acting up at first, but we got him back on track. I got him back on track.
Yeah,
now
he had to talk to him because I had to fall back because I was ready to snap. Like, and Pete was like, nah, Shells, I got it. Because he know me. He know me like, from a business perspective, I'm always fair with people. I've always believed in that. You be fair with people, they be fair with you.
Right.
And I kept coming back to him, and I was just like, yo, fam, you trying to charge what for this?
Right.
Like, this joint, like, nobody, and I just kept going back to that. And finally, like, I was just like, nah, F all that. And so that's what P is talking about was real. Like, we went and recorded some stuff. We were all kind of like, it's cool. Got a couple joints that kind of you can play, but the album wasn't coming together. And we ended up scrapping a lot of it. Like, and then I started working with Panels, which is funny because Panels, Now You Can't Leave, was originally supposed to be a record for one of my solo projects.
Mm.
And I heard it, and I was like, nah, I got to get P. I got to get Black on this record.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then we were like, yo, let's do the Nation Gang. We got to, we're trying to do an album. And so at this point, like, I had started working with Panels even more for East Hampton, and Panels would just send me beats. And I forgot he sent me Heavy, and which is what the beat was called, was Heavy. And I forgot he sent me, I think it was called Tears, which is Welcome.
Yep.
And I remember, again, every time we go to the studio, PR knows I'm going to have just tons of beats. Usually I send them to him beforehand. They don't listen to them. I'm just over here doing cardio with my fingers.
That's a lie. That's a lie. But the problem is though, the problem is, Dan, is I listen to him, but I don't have, like, I got beats, and I don't put the beats on. I'm playing this shit through my phone. So I'm like, oh, that's all right, man. That shit don't really sound. But then when something catches it, all right, cool. But then when I get to the studio, it's a whole different sound. So a lot of these ones that I've heard, I go, oh yeah, that shit sound dope, because the studio monitors bring out more of the music.
Right.
Welcome was the perfect example. Like, I heard Welcome, and I was like, it's cool. I'm not really a fan of tracks without drums in them. That's just not what I'm into.
Yeah.
But if it's a dope enough loop, or the music is dope enough, I'll vibe to it. But Welcome was just different. When I got to the studio and heard it, it was like, yeah, it's a go. It's a go.
Definitely. So let's talk about favorite beats. Let's talk about producers, the strength of these different producers.
All right.
Panels has so much swag in these beats. Like I just kept thinking like, man, if I could have had this beat to play as I walked into my like annual review at work, it's like, you know, whatever, welcome or whatever, just to be like, yeah, like, you know, there's so much swag in it, and I really got Panels at this point. But Sonny Jim, dude, those middle tracks, he does. Does he do Push Start or the one before?
He does Push Start. So that was one of the records. So
and that Push Start sounds like, because I think on BR you said it sounds like a 70s song, and I was like, no, it sounds like something that plays on Starsky and Hutch. Like it sounds like they're in the car after the bad guy on Starsky and Hutch. It's that 70s.
Yes. This is what I'm talking about. Absolutely. 100%.
That joint, it feels like you watching Shaft right after he done shot somebody with the big Colt 45.
Yep.
And he got the girl, he gets the girl, everything is perfect. And like that's, I think, like, so Sonny Jim, man, like I've loved Sonny Jim and I wanted to work with him for a minute. And I kept like, yo, I'm gonna get a Sonny Jim joint for one of my album projects. I'm gonna get a Sonny Jim joint. And Chillion, like we had rapped over Chillion Davis for Push Start. We had rapped over Chillion for Till Death, and Boat Shoes was the third one that he had did. And when like I said, I blew up at the Bull, and I didn't, you know what I mean? It was more of like, yo, I don't think you treating us fair, because you know what I mean? Like if I was somebody else, you probably don't talk to me like that. But because I'm a new artist in his mind. You know what I mean? He just did a song with West Side Gun. Who the fuck is Scorsese, Lord Jones? Like, I don't know this dude. So I'm gonna tell him this is what my price is, and I'm like, nah, I'm not paying that. And I just kept going back to this idea of like, yo, Press Start is so fly, is so, like you said, right? It's just imbued with that soul. I said I need somebody that can do this. Right. And so I cold DM'd him. I didn't even ask. I just hopped in his DMs like, yo, Sonny, I got like 4 records. I would love for you to, you know what I'm saying, like take a stab at. What do you think? And he hit me back. He was like, yeah, let me hear him. Let me hear the original. Let me hear what you got. And I think it took like a week before I heard back from him. So I think he had just dropped a new project or whatever. But the one thing, and it much like with Midnight Express, like when I reached out to a artist, it's always action that I want. Like if they say, yo, this is how much it costs, I'm probably not going to work with you. Yep. But the first thing he said was like, yo, you know, and of course, you know, he got that London, yo, man, these records is crazy. These are crazy. He said, I love this type of shit. He says, I got to do it. And then he, you know what I'm saying? He was like, what's your budget? And I told him, I said, this is my number. We worked it out. But I knew, like P said, you know, we had kind of did the first part. We're dealing with producers, and usually, you know what I'm saying, I do this shit all the time. You know what I mean? P, you know what I'm saying, P not out the game, but he's comfortable now. So, you know, he's now dealing with this shit. He's doing the same thing with me. Like, yo, Shells, man, I'm tired. I'm tired. Right. And I could see why nobody would want to finish the project. But I was really like adamant, and I was like, trust me, I got you. Just give me a second. When Sonny gave me those 4, because like his Boat Shoes is hot too. Like don't get it twisted. Like it's, yeah. His Boat Shoes is crazy too. And I remember sending him to P, and P was just like, yo, this is 1,000 times. This is what I want my shit to sound like. And that was the reaction I wanted. Because I told him, I said, I listened to these right before I sent them to you. But I wasn't going to tell you what I thought. I wanted to hear what you had to say first. Right. And P was just, I mean, hearing that in his voice and hearing how excited he was like, okay, now I know I got this part right. Panels came back with Welcome, and we just knew we had to close the album out. And that's where Heavy Talk came from. Right. You know what I'm saying? We scheduled one last session to do Heavy Talk because I sent it to P, and he heard it, and he was like, nah, that's got to close the record. Mm-hmm. That's got to close the record. And I remember driving, I almost got hit. I almost hit a car because I just picked up P, And we threw the beat on right away as we're driving to the studio, and P kicked his verse, and I had my phone out. So I'm rapping my verse and trying to drive like an idiot. And, you know, like, P was just like, yeah, that first one ill. I said, I got one more. Let me let you hear it. And I started rapping the second one. He's like, no, I lied. That's the one. You know?
Because it flowed better with it transitioned better after the way I was kind of, spitting. And then, because of the choppiness of the delivery, we talking heavy talk. This is, you know what I'm saying? And the way he was kind of attacking the beat, like, you know what I'm saying? It was the perfect way to shut this shit down.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, what you said about what he did with his voice, because normally he's on this type of tone, right? If you listen to a project, and there's nothing wrong with it. He just knows he has a good voice, so he stays in his pocket. But in this album, you messed around with it. You went up and down, and you did a couple of different things. You got out of the comfort zone, which is what I appreciate, because I don't know what drove you to do it, but it was needed, because I'm telling you, man, hearing it, I don't know what it would sound like if we would have done things different. I just know what it sounds like now, and what we have now is out of this world. That's y'all.
That's me. You know, I'm pretty insular when I record my own music. You know what I mean? Right. I go to the studio by myself. It's me. Yeah. It's Money Most. You know what I mean? Usually a bottle of something, and I'm working by myself. So the only person I hear is me. And sometimes you're dealing with your own opinions, and you know what I'm saying? And I'm listening to myself and like, okay, that sounds good. Nah, I'm gonna do it like this. And then that's when you start doubting yourself. You'll go into the stew like To Be Loved. To Be Loved is a perfect example of this. Me and P, so P picked that beat. Chilion Davis produced it. Shout out to him. Like P specifically picked it, and it was like, yo, this is what we're gonna do on it. And P did his verse, and I remember when P first did it, I was like, yo, P, if you just sing-song that just a little bit, it's gonna be crazy. Flyest fat nigga on the planet. Scoop any John from the Jills to the Janets. And I was like, I'm telling you, if you freak it, it's gonna sound crazy. And he was like, you sure? And I was like, yo, just trust me on this. Trust me on this. And I remember he did it. He got back in the car. He left. And maybe like 3 or 4 days later, yo, Shells, I don't like it.
This is not my comfort zone.
Right, and I'm sitting here like, because at this point, like, I've let a couple people hear it. You know what I'm saying? Because I when I went home, I was like, yo, this record is bananas. Yep. No hook. We let the sample ride. And, you know what I mean? That was, again, this is why we talk about like group dynamics.
Yep.
Because my first instinct was like, yo, I'm gonna call my little homegirl Lakey up, let her sing a hook on it. Maybe I know my girl Sydney A would love to sing on this record and really freak it. And P was like, nah, it's just the sample. Just let the sample do its job. And so when P comes on with that sing-songy at the end, it's so fly. Like you said, it just feels like, you know, like the slow motion camera's on you. And you just like, and it's perfect. And P was just like, I don't like it. I'm like, yo, P, you gotta stop saying that. He's like, nah. I was like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We'll go back to the studio. I'll schedule another session. Let my man do something with it. Let him add a little effect to it. If you still don't rock with it, you can change it. But I'm telling you, it's perfect. And Most, you know what I'm saying, Most sat down with both of us. P told him what he felt like. Most went and did his you know what I'm saying, the clickety-clack thing.
Yep.
And P was like, okay, I'm good now. And that's what I mean. Like that John, so Ahmed Johnson is another one. I get remixed. It was originally produced by Wavy the God.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you can actually find the original Ahmed Johnson on our SoundCloud.
Oh, okay.
I dropped that actually after the first session, so maybe it's about a year old.
Yep.
And Wavy gave us like this mean, like up north, it's almost like a drill beat. Like it's real aggressive and it fits the tone. But once we started changing up so much of the production, you know, Sonny Jim had came in, Chilion gave us a bunch of stuff, panels had been locked in. I kept going back to it And I just kept saying, like, this shit doesn't fit anymore.
It didn't fit.
And I was shook because, like, Ahmed Johnson is one of my favorite songs. It's one of my favorite joints I've done.
Right.
And I was just like, I don't want this joint just to end up, like, in vaporware somewhere.
Right.
And so I hit my man Chris up. Shout out to super producer Chris Wright.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, Chris, I need some fly shit. I said, I need you to take this really heavy record and make it fly. And he's like, why? It's good. Chris is real upfront. It's a good record. And I was like, because it doesn't fit the album anymore. And it's got to fit the album. He's like, well, let me hear the song that comes before it and after. And again, it's surrounded by Till Death and Boat Shoes. Like, that's the Murderer's Row.
Yep.
Like, that's, you know what I mean? That's a 3-song. Like, if you don't, those are the 3 songs you play, and you will either fall in love with this project or you be like, I'm done with it.
Right.
If you don't like those 3, there's nothing I can do for you.
It's about adrenaline at that point, right? It's
exactly. That you should want to, like, go get your, like, yo, you know what? I do got me a little bottle of scotch upstairs. I need to crack that open and pour me a couple of shots and just sit with this. And so Chris is like, I got you. He's like, yo, and first thing he said was like, yo, Till Death is nuts. And he says, whoever that is rapping on Boat Shoes, he says, I might need to holler at him. Like, and he said, but I got you. And I remember getting that email back from him with Ahmed Johnson. I played it. And that, when those bing, 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 bing. And understand, he didn't change anything. He remixed the vocals to make them fit, but it's exact from start to finish. And I sent it to PR, and PR was like, yo, Shells, you a genius, dog. Like, I don't know what you go do this. He said, but this shit is perfect. And I
man. I mean, networking is just such a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it's a big part of this, and it's a big part of the success of Insubordinate Records, right? You're just 2 personal releases for you this year, East Hampton Polo Boys, Midnight Express, 2 releases for Nation Gang. Alex Ludovico, Black Runner, did great. He's
40,000 streams. He killed it this year.
He's a secret weapon. He really is.
White boy coming in May.
He's the Isaiah Rashad of, like, Insubordinate Records. He's that dude. But yeah, I want to cut a commercial here for you guys.
I got you.
The types of music that is on this album. I was really thinking about what types of music you find on this album. So I got fight music.
Yeah.
Ahmed Johnson, Now You Can't Leave. 70s Cop Show, Toast, Push Start. Vacation music, To Be Loved.
Yes.
To Be Loved is a vacation. And really the primary thing here, Henny No Mix, Welcome. This is the kind of music when your crew is dressed up, you're ready to go, and you're on your way to the club. You have to have music on the way to the club and on the way back from the club. This is that music. So Henny No Mix, Welcome. You find a lot of those that are just like, man, this is like on our way to the club for feeling good music. Philadelphia Freeway Track 2,
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that, brother.
That's that goes back to, we talk about, like, our own influences and the way that we all look at music. And, like, one, obviously a huge influence for me personally, and, PR will probably say the same, was like the Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? And, of course, we got 92 Wu shit on there.
Right.
But more importantly than that, you look at, even like on a Wu-Tang album, they would make a song, they would make cream. They would make ice cream.
Yeah.
Ice cream is on Cuban Links, and it sounds just as rugged and smooth,
right,
as it's supposed to sit on there. Ghost, all I got is, you know what I'm saying? All I got is you. Can it all be so simple?
Right.
We're always getting these mean, smooth, but rugged records. So when we did, like A Time for Burning, man, like we recorded A Time for Burning during quarantine. Maybe like 2 weeks after No, I think it was maybe like, no, we wrote it like 2 weeks after George Floyd died.
Yeah.
And we recorded it maybe like a month later. We recorded it in May when they loosened up a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we risked it. We were like, yo, we gotta, and I kept telling P, like, I gotta say this out loud. If I don't say this, and P kept going, yo, Shells, he said, all my verses, man, he said, they gonna get me murdered. Like, these police gonna get me if I record these.
Right.
And I remember, I think I either posted a list that PR reads, which is brilliant. That was a brilliant idea. But I just had to go in because a lot of my white friends would hit me up and they'd be like, yo, I didn't even heard about Rosewood. I never heard about Black Wall Street. I never heard it. And I'm sitting here like, what? And kept like, you never heard about the Red Summer in Chicago? You never heard about, you know what I mean? Like the NAACP
bombings in '85 in Philly. You know what I'm saying?
The
like
bombings and that's what really got me to start writing and going in. And so like when we first did Time for Burning before that, it was called Juice. And we were doing like this little story concept thing. And it just didn't click. Like it's an okay record, but I was like, it doesn't really click, but we really liked the beat. And we sat on it. And then George Floyd was executed. And that's really what set us off. You know, we're all Black men, and, you know, PNR and I are both fathers, and we just kept coming back to that and how angry it made us, you know, because we got our little group chat that we talk in, and we're all just kind of really going through this. And
right.
I sent Pete a verse. I was like, Pete, I had to write something. And he was like, all right. And that record, you know, Pete had to keep telling me because I just wanted people to hear it. Because I just saw people going through pain. I saw people being angry. I saw people wanting something to latch onto. And Pete was just like, no, just hold it. And it's both really poetic and it's very sad that record is still relevant.
Right.
Months and months and months later. Part of me was hoping that things were a little better and people would hear it and go, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, no, but it really does segue. It's weird, like it got me the album because the wrestling samples themselves, when you isolate the audio, like wrestling really does speak to all the problems we deal with in this really brash way, where it's just there's no like, well, there's two sides of this. It's just like, wow, that's naked, and the whole history of Black and you know, minority wrestlers is like tied to America and the way the system works, right? Like we're talking, and correct me on my timeline if I have the key figures wrong. In the 80s, it was bad, right? It was basically if you were Black, Latin, you know, Asian, you were getting Doink level storylines, right? You were Junkyard Dog, you were Tito Santana, and you were never going to win any title. You were never going to actually, you know, be the headliner. You were just going to be a joke.
You were a prop. You were a prop.
I'll make one slight. So Sylvester Ritter is a little bit different, like Junkyard Dog. I mean, by the 80s, it was kind of a rap for the dog. But if you look at him in like the 60s, 70s, during his heyday, he was the head of Mid-South. Like he was that dude. You know what I mean? Like he routinely was selling out 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 people every time he went to New Orleans. So, but by the time he made it to WWE, like his body had broken down. He was definitely more of a prop. And that was something that my mom pointed out to me all the time. She was like, you never saw the real Junkyard Dog. You never saw the real Junkyard Dog. And I'm like, Mom, I'm seeing the real Junkyard Dog right now. Like he was like an old man who can't really move. And she was the one who would get me like those old Mid-South tapes. And that's really what got me into wrestling. And I see this guy just crowd in the palm of his hands. You know what I mean? And then I would go back and I would watch like Idiots. And again, I don't want to say idiots because it's not fair. But you would see these caricatures like Coco Beware or Flash Funk. And you know what I mean? Like Terry Funk is an incredible wrestler today. You know, the amount of innovation he's done. But you've seen these guys just kind of like flitter in and out, and they're like pure stereotypes. You know, the Asian guy, of course, he has to know kung fu, he has to know karate. The Hispanic guy has to be in a sombrero. You know what I mean? The black guy has to love rap music and talk with jive, son, and you know what I mean. And then you kind of watched it evolve, and then even during this time, you had Ron Simmons. Again, Ron Simmons is a Florida State All-American.
All-American.
He's a legit athlete. There's stories. The guy was talking. He's like, yo, he went to the gym like 4 times a month and could walk in the gym at any point and just lift 600 pounds, bench press, legit. And he said he never needed to work out. He was a legitimate physical freak. Butch Reed, another one.
Yep.
And people forget, like Doom. Doom was the very first NWA Black Tag Team Champion.
I was about to say, yeah. So that's Ron Simmons. Really, for me, is the first black wrestler I can remember who could never be humiliated.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and that was a big step. And I think he was probably I think he was also the first like
NWA World Champion,
black champion individually as well.
Correct.
And a lot of that just was like this. You can't have this guy shucking and jiving because the crowd won't buy it.
Yep.
No.
The crowd won't believe it. The way he carries himself on top of the way he looks, they won't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for pointing out the regions, because people who did great in the regions got swallowed in and they didn't know how to handle them, and it just was bad.
Yeah. Think about when he went to WWF. And so you got Ron Simmons, the former NWA World Champion, first NWA Tag Team Champion, legit badass. He's like 6'7", jacked to the gills, and they throw him in a fucking gladiator costume.
Right.
Because they have no idea what to do with this guy. They have no idea how to present him, because presenting him just as Ron Simmons, legitimate All-American, wouldn't be palatable to their audience.
Right.
They got to dress him up. They got to make him look like something. And they saw that didn't work. So they flipped him from Ron Simmons to Farouk.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you listening to those old Farouk promos, one thing that stands out to me, and has always stood out to me, particularly as I do like my sample mining and like, yo, I want to use this clip, I want to use this. There is so much embedded truth in the things that he's saying that the people that were around him and I'm talking about like the nation, but like the crowd, and probably even Vince himself, they're hearing this and they're like, yeah, it's good to boo this guy. He doesn't understand. When it's more of like, no, I'm telling you, I've experienced racism, and I've experienced marginalization, that I'm not good enough just because of the color of my skin. Right. Despite, in Farouk's particular case, every one of the accolades that he's achieved through his own merit.
Right. And
the fact that a lot of people don't know that he was the first NWA Tag Team Champion, and he was the first, people, oh yeah, he's the first black champion. And I'm like, that's a misnomer. But the fact that that's all you know about this guy is a problem. It's a big problem.
It was, he did not get a real fair shot. While he was the trailblazer, he would have had a much better career in a world that didn't marginalize him. There's no question about that.
Correct.
To me, the turning point feels like Harlem Heat, Booker T, right? In the sense that Booker T's the first guy I could remember that was as jacked as he was, but was pulling like Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero moves and shit.
Very athletic, yeah.
He's incredible in terms of agility and movement. And the amount of things he could do, different moves that he could pull off. He couldn't ignore it, and you had to utilize it, right? And so his career, I think, really did pull a lot of things forward. Does that make sense? Is that
100%? Like Harlem Heat, and like you said, you did your deep dive. You can see a lot of the inspiration behind a lot of the music would come from a lot of those things, man. Like I love Harlem Heat. I love Doom. You know, like obviously the Nation of Domination. We can keep going. Butch Reed, Butch Reed was an incredible heel, man. He, you know, and the more I've dived into this Doom project and been like kind of planning that, the more I've gotten a chance to like watch him wrestle and go like, man, this guy probably should have been a world champion like 10 times over.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, why didn't he make it? Why didn't he get to this point? And you know what I mean? You can go down the line, man. There's so many like purely talented guys that were just left marginalized and minimized. And you know, Pete hit me. We were talking about Doom. He's like, "Yo, you gotta find me a Farouk or Farouk talking that talk." And I was like, "Pete, I got you. Trust me, I got you.
No problem."
You know what I mean? No problem. That's light work actually, because there's never been a time where Farouk wasn't talking that talk, and that's what we want. You know, you want somebody, and I think that's when we talk about wrestling and how rap and wrestling intersect, and where I feel like PR and Black and Speeds give me a lot of grace, particularly like with audio samples, right?
Yep.
So like I tend to pick all the audio samples, like how to make the record flow from song to song. You know, like once they finalize the track list and they finalize the sequence, like I let PR like, yo, P, how should these songs sound? PR sent me the sequence and said, yo, y'all got to trust me to do this. Because I wanted to tell that story of marginalization. I wanted to tell that story of fear. I wanted to tell that story of triumph and success and failure, and that sheer anger watching people. And, you know, so I was, you know, like Pete, you know, talked about being a movie guy. I love Blaxploitation movies. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm not talking about like Coffee and,
right,
you know, Shaft and, you know, all the main Superfly. You know,
but you're talking like Black Gestapo. You're talking like real deep.
Yeah, Boss and all them. You know, like I'm really in my bag.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Watching
these sequels and all that. Yep.
Correct. And so you hear a lot of that. You know what I'm saying? Like the first sample is I think it's a TV clip from they were interviewing a gang member out in LA. And it's perfect. It's perfect. Like, yo, why are we in a gang? And he's like, yo, you know, this is why.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And if you listen to it, you may think of it from a negative sense, but what we're really talking about is, yo, we got to come together. We gotta create something bigger than what we are. And as we grow, we continue to grab new people. And then, you know what I'm saying? And the music starts. And so, yeah, I'm kind of rambling a bit, but I think the big thing I'm trying to get to convey is that each one of these little elements, from the beats to the samples to the rhymes, really forms that idea and informs the listener about like, yo, this isn't just like wrestling music. You know, like I don't even think I mentioned a lot of wrestling, to be honest.
Right.
And I think there's the sample right before Now You Can't Leave, where the gang wars start, where that's when Crush came out with the bikers.
Yeah.
And it was like, it's 4 of them and it's 3 of the nation. And, you know, because it's right at that point, it was just us 3 on Now You Can't Leave. So I was like, it's dope. And I had to end it with that, with Farouk being really explicit. Why didn't I get a title shot? Why didn't D-Lo get a title shot? And then D-Lo just comes out and says it. We don't think we're black. And then you hear in the crowd, you hear the crowd booing him.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect like encapsulation of what we're trying to represent. Like, we're always going to be black, but we also will speak our truth.
Yeah.
You know
and like Jack Harlow should be able to speak his growing up in Kentucky with weird hair truth. Like, everybody should be able to do that. And no one should, like, that shouldn't freak people out. But
Tyler Hero.
So Tyler Hero's great. So I'm going to switch into, because there aren't really all that many rap songs about pro wrestling. There's an occasional Ric Flair mention here and there, but it's not a deep well. I was going to tell you some of my favorites, right? Now there's no question my all-time favorite pro wrestling song is New Jack by Smoke DZA.
Okay.
I'm a big Smoke DZA person, but Ric Flair by Killer Mike off Pledge 3.
That shit's incredible.
Action Bronson, the Damn really is the one where they pulled the Ron Simmons sample and he rapped is great. But yeah, obviously you got to talk Griselda.
Okay.
Supreme Blientele, it might be the best pro wrestling themed rap album.
Whoa, Paul.
Before you guys, I'm just saying.
No, that wasn't. Hold up. Because we gonna say this, and I say this every time. I'm gonna make sure I put it. I'm gonna stamp it right there. Two-man power trip.
Excellent.
By Scorsese and M. Lito.
Excellent.
I dropped this project 5 years before anybody knew who the fuck Griselda was.
I agree.
I've always had that smoke because I've always gave props to Killer Mike's Ric Flair.
Yep.
I've always given props to Smoke Dizzin. Some of his music hit or miss to me, but I respect the bull.
Yep.
That's pretty much where it stops. Action is cool. Action came later. But that's all, because you can go back, you can check. I've never taken it off my SoundCloud for that reason. I don't even use SoundCloud anymore. But I want people to check them dates. You can go, you can clickety-clack on the internet. You can check the dates. When I dropped Vinnie Mac's theme, I was the first bull. And from the Cuban Links cover to the liner notes with Vinnie Mac, I had Vince McMahon with the Pyrex over the stove like Raekwon, no shirt. I was the first bull. Go back and look at the promo. I had Triple H looking like Capadonna on the Iron Man cover. Like that was shells. Like we had with the Monday Night Raw, and we had so this is a deep cut. This is a deep cut where people don't even peep. Monday Night Raw, the album cover. It's a hand reaching for a chair in the middle of the ring. People don't even know where that comes from. And this is how I know they're not real Wu fans like me. If you go back and you find the original piece only built for Cuban Links 2, is Raekwon laying down with his gun pointed at a dude, and the other dude pointing his gun like this, and in the middle is just a brick of cocaine that's been broken open.
Oh, yes.
And it's one of the illest shots ever. And that's what we recreated with that, where he's reaching for the chair and the blood is splattered instead of the cocaine. And if you actually open up, and this is my fault because I didn't know enough about music when I made Two-Man Power Trip. I wasn't able to put it on streaming because I had no idea about this shit. I had no idea that on music on iTunes. I didn't know how to press up physicals. I didn't know people would want a physical when I dropped it. So it just became this piece of art that was on my Bandcamp for years. And people would always hit me up like, yo, I found this through this. I didn't even know you made this. Or somebody would bring up like, yo, and then, people, oh yeah, Gristle Hall and Nash. And I said, wait, what? Hold up. And they did who? Wait, who did what? I said, y'all didn't know about Harlem Heat? Y'all didn't know about the Dangerous Alliance mixtape? Y'all didn't know about the Nation of Domination? And people always go, oh, you just mad. I'm like, see, that's the difference. I'm not mad.
Right.
But you're not gonna look me in my eye, and not you in particular, Dano. You're a good boy. Right. Yeah. This ain't for you. This ain't for you, Mr. White Folks.
I'm here.
This is more so the idea that like somebody else did this, and it's like a monolithic structure.
Right.
I know that people like Wale were following after me because Wale was here in DC, and he worked at the same studio because Chris Wright mixed down Two-Man Power Trip.
Oh.
And Wale used to come through that studio, him and his artist Black Cobain, and they would walk into that studio and they'd be like, yo, what's that? And Chris would, you know what I'm saying, he would talk to him, or even I talked to Black Cobain. I told him like, oh yeah, this is Two-Man, and I told him because again,
right,
I didn't know any better. I didn't, you know what I mean? You're thinking to yourself, I'm just making music that I love, and this is sounding so dope, and I'm pulling these ill Stone, like, again, who thought about making Stone Cold a criminal, falling in love with, like, his criminal actions? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sitting there like, nobody's thinking of this. This is so ill to me.
Right.
And then he drops Razor Ramon. like a week after my album drops. And I'm sitting here like, come on, man. We're doing this. And then people checked him on it. And like you can find like all this stuff is still on Twitter. People checked him on it, like, yo, that was Zip Squad Jihad. He did that. And he was like, oh, I ain't gonna drop it then. Then he was like, nah, fuck that dude. I'm dropping it.
Right.
That's what I mean. Like, Supreme Blientele is ill. I defy you. Listen, man. I'm a better rapper right now. Thanks to PR, thanks to Black. Speezy's on 2-Man Power Trip.
Right.
I'm a better rapper now than I was then, but 2-Man Power Trip is probably my best writing I've ever done in my entire life.
Wow.
Go back, put it on anything. Go listen to that project. It's dense. It's heavy as hell. It is, I mean, because I was in my Rock Marcy bag. And that was when I was really, like, one of my friends, it was a challenge. She was like, yo, go listen to Rock. You can't do that. I was like, oh, I can't? Oh, say less. Now I'm going to do it. Just because you told me I can't do it, I'm going to do it. And it was supposed to be an EP. It was supposed to be like 3 or 4 songs. And it blossomed into that whole project.
Yep.
But, go ahead. I'm going to let you finish that one.
I was just going to say, I love the conceptualization of Hall and Nash as Conway and Gunn. I just think that's really cool.
Right.
And like it's one thing to have like a pro wrestling song and inhabit the spirit of it, which I love, but to like identify yourself with these characters was a real kind of cool thing. But that was about it. And honestly, I didn't really think of Griselda until later on, because I don't associate them with the pro wrestling thing as much. That's Gunn. That's kind of Gunn's deal.
Gunn is a real, I will say this, and everything else aside, because I see Gunn at these events. And I'm not even talking about like the big WWE events, because I've seen him there too. Like, Gunn sits, because I me and my homie Renee, we the front row boys. I sit front row. And I see Gunn at them events. But I also see Gunn at those little indie events. He shows up to everything. And understand, he comes in, he got all his jewels on. He West Side Gunn to the T. No security, nobody with him. And he goes to them little warehouses where there's 100 fans just screaming. And there's, you know what I mean? He goes up to the gimmick table and he pays these dudes, just like when I go buy my T-shirts. So I respect him as a wrestling fan. Like him out of all these dudes.
Right.
I 100 because he's not just at the showy events. He's going to the New Japan events. He's going to the House of Glory events. He was going to the Evolve events. And he was always crazy. So I'm like, damn, that's West Side Gun. Okay, bet. That's a fan versus like, oh, I'm Wale. I only show up when WWE's in town. And I'm like, damn, you got a whole, there's like different all Black wrestling organizations here in DC that would love to get a rub. Shout out to PAWG, who would love to get a rub from Wale for him to show up to an event with all the little kids that be there.
Right.
They would love that publicity. And he don't, I'm not coming down there.
Yeah.
I'm not driving to Capitol Heights.
He ain't no real wrestling fan.
And that's my point.
He's a culture vulture.
Culture. Yes, sir.
It's weird that we bring up Wale. Wale actually, see, I date myself back a little bit further, and I'm gonna just real quick, and then I know we short on time.
Yep.
I used to perform in DC a lot, DC Live,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different areas, a lot of different smaller venues down in DC, back in like 99, 2000, 2001.
Yep.
And with a different group, a different crew, and we came out with a song called 85. And you know, it played off of the nah,
right.
Hey. So we flipped it and we did it a certain way. We got a couple different versions of it. We rocked it. Every time we come down to DC, we rocked it. And you know, somebody hit me and was like, yo, this is dude named, yo, Lady Gaga did a song with some dude, and they just completely stole what y'all do. I'm like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
People been stealing stuff we've been doing down there for a minute, but I'm like, I don't know who this guy is. So he's like, he's a dude named Wale. He spells it W-A-L-E. look up his song with Lady Gaga, and then just tell me what you think. And I listen to it and I go, there's no fucking way, bruh. There's no way. And he is literally, the only thing he changed, he obviously hasn't changed the words because 85 means nothing to him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But the entire premise of the hook, the song, the melody is the exact same thing that we've done. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird. It's weird that Shells and I connect. You know, we both had ideas stolen by this guy in different decades. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just thought that was always just we always had that connection. I just thought that was a weird thing.
No, that's just, but none of that surprises me. It's just that pop music, that necessity to stay on top. You're kind of always just ingesting and like, you know, taking whatever you need to take, whether it's drill music or whatever.
Oh, it's easy to steal from somebody who don't nobody really know. Because I mean, what are we gonna do? Other than if we see him, it's on site.
Right.
Oh,
I'm not doing that no more.
I ran up on him in Dallas WrestleMania weekend, right after Monday after Raw. Yo, you getting it exclusive right now, Dano, because people will be forgetting. Like, yo, I'm a wild bull. I don't calm down a lot, but. And I look again, Renee G. Castillo can confirm everything I'm saying. Renee G. Castillo on Twitter, he'll confirm every word of everything I'm saying because he was right there beside me. And I'm telling you, America Airlines Arena, right after the show, Monday after WrestleMania, I walk outside, me and Renee, like, yo, what we gonna do? We about to get a drink. We about to go do whatever. Like our last day in Dallas before we leave. And as we're walking around, there's a statue outside, a dirt. And at the statue, we see a crowd of people. We're like, yo, what's going on? So we go peep, and it's Wale. Wale is like 5'4".
Right.
And he's surrounded by these two big bodyguards, and the dude is filming him. And I was like, oh, hold up, what are they talking about? And so he's filming him about WrestleMania weekend. And I'm sitting here like, now, Renee and I had been to 14 shows in 7 days. Like we hit every show we could. Mm-hmm. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I didn't see Wale at NXT. I didn't see Wale cross Food and Evolve. I didn't see Wale in ROH. Why are they interviewing this guy? And he's talking about the wrestling that took place, and he's going on and on. And I finally scream out, yo, you gonna talk about how you stole homie music? He turned me, looked. I said, yo, it's good. You know who it is. It's your boy Scorsese. It's Shells. I'm here. Bodyguard turned. I said, yo, get your big ass knocked out. Because understand, like, Bodyguard was about 6'3". I'm 6'2".
Right.
I'm not afraid. Look, man, I've been shot 3 times. I ain't afraid of nobody at this point. Like, it's all conversation.
Right.
I said, look, I'm telling you. And he was like, I gotta go. And they whisked him off. And I was like, yo, that's the bull that was interviewing him. He got mad. He like, why you do that? I said, tell the truth. I said, I'm sorry that the truth hurt that man. I said, but he's a thief. And so many people give him leeway. And I said, that's my thing. I said, he knew who I was. It wasn't a thing where like he was just, oh, he's a hater. He just yelling at me. He knew exactly who I was. Because, again, I worked in studios here in D.C. I've operated in studios here in D.C. Pretty much since I moved down here. You know what I mean? As a manager, as a promoter, as a studio hand, different little things. I'm talking even before I started, like, you know what? I'm going to make music. Where I was just rapping to myself, rapping out loud, cutting little demos here and there. It was like, I'm going to actually do my thing. So he knew who I was. So I know all the people he's stolen music from. Right. I know Ronald 88 Keys Utley. And when they stole Murderers for Dig Dug and Kenny Burns put that on the radio, that's the song that blew him up. I know all them people, so I got to look, man. I don't even want to talk about the bull because he's making me heated. Let's move on. Yeah, let's finish up. We're gonna finish up our story, man. Come on, let's get back to the nation. Let's get back to the nation gang, the aches and pains, man. We back.
So let's talk favorite verses from. We've already talked PR boat shoes dominating. I'm gonna give another PR heavy talk. The first verse, I just think he sets that off. It's fantastic. So
Appreciate that.
Shells, what would you say for PR verses that you're?
Whew. Outside of some verses that I've mentioned already, one of the verses I love from PR is his verse on Toast. Like PR, I'm telling you, PR is one of the most versatile artists I've ever like rap with and that I've ever watched work. Because like Toast was another one. Like I tend to write on my way to Baltimore, like in the car. Yep. Like I'll throw a beat on, and again, just dumb shit I shouldn't be doing. But like, you get that quiet time and all of a sudden the ideas are just flowing.
Right.
And I sent him that joint. Like I got recorded in the car. I rapped it in the car. I was like, yo, P, we got to do this. And P came right. He walked in the studio. He's like, okay, bet, give me a couple minutes. And he came back with that verse. Like I love that joint. I really love PR's verse on Now You Can't Leave too.
Mm-hmm.
Again, just the way he ends it. If I do this rap shit, you better be right. Is the words I said to Big Unk on Summertime Nights. We work hard, play harder, hoes by the charter. Like it's just these crazy lines. And again, right, like when P said, see me at the oh man, I'm trying to remember the line. It's something about bought the bar. He said the first bar that bought the bar.
Yeah.
You know the joint I'm talking about.
I forgot the song, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite stories because like look, when P says 20 hits on my ass cap, like, he ain't lying to you. Like that's reality. You know what I'm saying?
I bought the bar out. I bought the bar out plenty of times. I went to a bar and said, you know what? Everybody, don't worry about it. From here on out, it's on me. And right. I've gotten, a 4-figure tab at the end of the night. You know what I'm saying? And everybody like, yo, you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good.
You know what I mean?
What I'm saying? So, yeah, it was nothing to me, bro.
Hearing those, and that's why I always, I tell people, some people just be rapping. PR is giving y'all a lot of game and a lot of joints that, and when you hear it, you be like, man, he said, out in PA at the bar, I bought the bar. It was a bar. Literally, it's called The Bar.
Yeah.
And he bought it out. You know what I mean? And so it's all these crazy little lines and sequences. But yeah, definitely. I mean, there's not a bad PR verse on the record, but Now You Can't Leave is one that really stands out to me. I love that verse. Obviously Push Start, we already mentioned that and how much I love that. I did a breakdown on that verse.
Yep.
His verse on Ahmed Johnson is crazy. Just the way he jumps on that beat. I came from nothing to something, had plenty enemies.
Yeah.
When Pete talks about that I'm glad Shells added those little bounces and stuff into his verse, that comes from him.
Right.
That comes from there's a on the We Are B-sides. We did it was a freestyle that we did originally over Drake's Summer 16. And it's one of I tell people break bread at the ball, separated for when niggas see us coming, start to tuck in they balls. PR overachieve, other niggas subpar. New Jersey flow is so mean. Hooks is Abdul Jabbar, Kareem on the track. Showtime when I rap. And it's this ill.
There's a sense that that every PR verse is at a different speed.
Mm-hmm.
And his vocal footwork is just all over the place.
Yep.
So let's get into Black here. Obviously, I love Now You Can't Leave. I love him on Now You Can't Leave. I love him on the Welcome first verse, I believe, in Welcome.
Yep, he sets the record off.
Yep.
Yeah, no, he sets the stage. I think PR, you did a breakdown on that one.
Yep. Perfect verse.
Yep.
Perfect verse. I mean, Welcome is crazy for Black. I mean, To Be Loved is one of my favorites, and I think everybody gonna get a chance to really laugh at it. If you ever know what we know, when you hear that verse, it's like, bro, you're a wild guy.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
True.
Hey, man, listen.
Awesome.
Secondhand Lions. Like I just could not. I couldn't offer anything else, and for them two to be able to put that song together, the song is crazy. But
Right.
then Black's verse on it is wild because he's basically telling like you're a goofy that's doing it for IG.
Sheesh.
Even in your hood, you need an ID. Come on, man. Like it's bro. I really enjoy every single Black verse on this album.
And I was gonna cite Secondhand Lions for Shells. I think the first verse on there was that the medulla oblongata and all. It was just, you know, there's a sense of just being able to the superpower of like taking punchlines but rearranging phrasing and word choice to the point where it hits you like later what it is. You know, like it's a real special thing to be able to diagram out and make work.
You can tell he's precise with the writing, and he has really a real thought process, and he's not just going in there and just spouting words and you know what I'm saying? Like there's a legit thought process with every single verse. My favorite verses, again, I love the way Henny No Mix came out because of what he did on it. I like the boat shoes verse because it's a complete total opposite. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it's like I give you this version, he gives you that version, and it's just it's perfect marriage of two verses on a track. Though that's one of my favorites. Ahmed Johnson to me is what I think is his best verse on the album. Outside of A Time to Burn It, because that's a deeper meaning, but Ahmed Johnson for me, that's my favorite. If I had to rank them, I'd start my ranking with Ahmed Johnson.
There's a sense of Shells as the architect, that he has the blueprints, and that it wouldn't surprise me that playing with the vocals or changing with the voice, because if you're always building, you're always rebuilding.
Yeah, always.
And you're always like rebuilding yourself and rebuilding as a writer, one of the exercises I used to do, this was one of my funnest things to do. If I wanted to focus on an aspect of my writing, I would find a story that I didn't give a fuck about, but I thought was funny. And I would focus on this one aspect during writing that story. So give you an example, I wrote a Looney Tunes orgy. And the whole point...
Ghostface on The Forest.
The whole point of this Looney Tunes orgy was writing segues to different rooms,
right?
Different sets of characters, and tightening my segues, right? And so that was the whole point of it, was like, we go from this room with these two characters to this room with these two characters. How do we get there? You know?
Right.
So that story was an experiment, and it helped me because the stories I wrote after that, I knew how to do it.
Right, right.
So like, it's rebuilding yourself and your skill set, and like putting yourself in that groove. So before we go, the one last thing I would do is I wanted to tell you the wrestler that has influenced me. Okay. Because I grew up a Four Horsemen guy.
Okay.
My favorite Four Horsemen was Arn Anderson.
Double A, the Enforcer.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And as I grew older, he became more and more somebody I thought of, because I just kept seeing wonderfully important creative people with lots of talent, but with no support system, right? Mm-hmm. A bunch of Ric Flairs with no Arn Andersons, right?
Yep.
And no infrastructure, no producers who wouldn't help them through things, and everybody just kind of standing there being brilliant, but nobody knows.
Yep.
And it's one of the reasons I do this is like to be the Arn Anderson, to come out, to give Flair, to poke Hogan in the eye with a woman's shoe, so Rick can roll him up, and he can hold up the title, and I helped make that happen. So you'll see me post occasional Arn Anderson pictures, and that is keeping it centered to amplify voices of really intelligent people and ride with people as they succeed.
I'm gonna hit you with a song. So I told you PR and I are working for 2021. We got our project called Doom coming. So that's gonna be our group project. It's mostly gonna be another Nation Gang project, but it's really gonna focus heavy on me and PR. With me playing the role again, Ron Simmons, P as Butch Reed, and the homie Black is gonna be Teddy Long. And we got a song called No Horseman on that record, which is pretty interesting because he talks about Teddy Long specifically talks about Arn Anderson on that record. I pulled that little sample, so it's a really dope record.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
that's how it's been influential for me. Appreciate what a year for everyone for Insubordinate Records and for the merchandising, for the collaborations. It's become a buzz, it's become a talk, and it's very cool, and it's as if like artists like Insubordinate Records are building an economy that just wasn't there.
Yeah, we got to, man.
Everybody's like streaming for quarters of a penny, and you guys are selling stuff.
Pete, what I told you, the streams are they're important from a stance of like, hey, you got to have this. But at the end of the day, man, I'm so happy that people are purchasing the things that we're creating, that they're seeing the quality in it. Every single person that hits us back, that's the first thing I hear. Yo, this is such a nice sweatshirt. This is such a nice hat. This is such a nice whatever. It's well made. It's comfortable. It flows. You know? And but that's real. Like, you know, somebody.
Here it is. Look at that.
See, look, I don't even got one of them. I messed up. I didn't even keep a Scorsese, Grit Scorsese sticker for myself. I mean, because you know what I'm saying? That's my point though. When people open our packages and they got all those extra stickers or a button or something else, you want people to go, wow, like we know that this was hand packed, that Shell sat there and he made sure it was wrapped properly and it looks great. And when people see P, and look, I wanted to mention this real quick. Me and P had a lot of Fat Boy lines on Nation Gang that don't age up real well because we back, you know what I'm saying? We look, right. 220 gang and below. We comfortable right now. It's a little different. You see how you see the sweatshirts fitting a little different.
We sitting at 217, baby.
You know what I'm saying? 218.5. I told you, no shirt. Look, when Doom dropped, we ain't wearing no shirts in August.
Don't lose any more because you can't guard LeBron at that point, right?
That's true. That's true.
You can't really body up on him. You know?
Real quick, I'm gonna let you go, Province. Insubordinate Records, man. The one thing that we pride ourselves on, every project you're gonna get from us is gonna sound different. It's gonna live in its own ecosystem, live in its own space. I'm so proud of what we were able to accomplish this year. Next year is gonna be just crazy for us. You know, obviously Doom is closing out our year as our last big project. Then I'm dropping a single for my next little EP. It's gonna be with a producer called Patches. Lobster Tails in my Tesla. Right. Just a crazy project. I'm so excited for y'all to get different vibes from me. Winter catalog is in February. You guys are gonna hear Steiner Math in January. Yeah, look, I'm coming. Winter catalog, man. That's if the summer is here, we gotta have the winter catalog. So the Polo Boys are back. Alex Ludovico's dropping his 2021 freestyle shit. And then, you know, me and P got Doom August, White Boy May, Jason Griff Fireside Chat. So his first official compilation project. I'm gonna give you one person. I'm gonna see if anybody's paying attention. So if he watches this, he's gonna cuss me out. Billy Woods is on the project.
Whoa.
Yeah. So he's gonna get mad at me if he watches and hears this. But I don't think he's gonna watch it and hear it because Jason Griff. Fuck Jason Griff. We don't.
Jason Griff makes fight music. Jason Griff makes fight music, man. I can't. You do not play Jason Griff music before you go to your annual review. I just don't want that in your career. That's all I'm saying.
That's why we're bordering in subordination always.
Play panels.
Iceberg Theory and we got Palaces of Wisdom coming.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, lots of really cool, dope stuff. And more importantly, man, we just want to keep giving you guys not just the music that you want, but that piece that you can go back to over and over and over again, man. I think that's the thing that always has been so happy, makes me so happy. People say, I can't stop wearing this sweatshirt. I can't stop wearing this hat. I love these shorts. I love this. I love this shirt. To me, the stickers, you know what I mean? Man, you guys dropped the illest little stuff, man. The little stuff
socks.
that the socks, man. I got like 8 pairs of those left. I gotta get them out the house.
Oh yeah, I need a pair.
Yeah, dude, look, them joints fire, dog. They fire.
But shout out to Iceberg Theory. For the Jewish people, he is our killer priest. He is
call him Beige Electronica.
Yep. Electronica. He did that. But yeah, I'm happy and proud of where you guys are and the success you've had. And it's weird because it's kind of aligned with the success my site has had of like, we got a logo this year and we got like, we're just activated in a lot of ways and the numbers are crazy and it's great. It's great to have.
You are one of those people, and I kind of snapped maybe a couple weeks ago on just because like I've grown tired of watching people vulture something that I take pride in, that I love doing.
Right.
And I know I've told you this personally, and to make sure I say it again. What you're doing for artists like me who are creating albums and moments and projects like this, like the Nation Gang, giving us a fair listen, and me knowing that you were going to give us a fair listen. And you could have easily have hit me back and been like, Rochelle's, like you said, right? It's cool. It's a group album, maybe not an interview, but maybe I'll mention it. I can respect that because I know that comes from a real place. I know that comes from you actually sitting down with this project, pushing play and saying, you know what, let me put all my expectations to the side and listen to this. And I know every other artist that I've watched you interview, because I watch all your interviews, every other artist has said the exact same thing. Dano takes the time out to listen to my record. He understands it in ways that these other guys who claim to be writers, they claim to be for the culture, they claim to be about, let me really understand hip hop. Every single time somebody gets a write-up from you, I saw Sleep Sinatra say it. I saw Henry Canyons mention it. I saw Zilla Rocca say the same thing. You get this music, man. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of watching you grow. I'm thankful for you, And again, you in all areas, man, just watching your writing and watching people really, gravitate to it. You appreciate it, good brother. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, brother.
No problem.
You're doing a good job, man.
On some Art Anderson shit, add some strength to numbers, man. That's all I can do. So, but yeah, everybody cop it, and trust me, cop up, get collections, get as much exclusive shit as you can, because these remix projects are no joke. If you want proof, really this Insubordinate Records rise starts with Catchpoint, a remix album. It next level shit. They take remix albums seriously. There are some labels that do that. There are some labels that don't.
Yep.
So
we are real quick remixes. I got a remix from Killer Kane. I got a remix from Zilla. He did a remix for us. Shout out to Mighty Healthy. He's working with Hus Kingpin right now. He gave us 3 remixes actually.
That's awesome.
Sleep Sinatra did an exclusive joint for us. Who else? Man, I got a ton. Chris Wright. Give me another remix. It's like PR hasn't even heard. He hasn't even heard We Are yet. I'm gonna make him. He gonna have to watch the Facebook Live on Thursday if he want to hear any of these records. You know what I mean? He gonna have to watch the Facebook like everybody else. Man, he called me Scorsese Diddy.
Can't even listen to my own music, bro.
Said I was holding his records, but we got something real dope with the Matchbox set. So again, it's gonna come in that ill Matchbox with the logo on the front. It's full color. All 3 CDs are gonna be inside, so you'll actually get Domination. People were asking me like, "Yo, are you gonna drop a Domination physical?" And I was like, no, it's just an EP. I wanted to get some Nation Gang music out there. I thought it was a great way to open us up while we waited for the album. The feedback was so insane from that. Shout out to Cashmere P. Like, people were just like, nah, you got to give us one. You got to give us one. So that's what the idea for the Matchbox was born. Let me give everybody all 3 CDs. Let me give you the bonus joints, and let me give you those, and you can put everything in. And it's going to come with a print from Pesque Design. So the same person who did the art for Raheem's Lament, he just did an Il Griselda print. He's actually doing the artwork for, so I'll have that tomorrow, and they'll be here on time, so you guys will get those shipped out on the 18th. Yeah, man, Nation Gang, Insubordinate Records, you know what I mean? Shout out to PR the Great, man. That's my brother, the Def. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Black, you know what I'm saying, a.k.a. Black Mask, a.k.a. 3Ks, you know what I'm saying? And shout out to the homie Big Spit Game, a.k.a. BSG, a.k.a. Pat Pockets. You know what I mean? We here, man. I'm so excited. Yeah, y'all heard me say that before, man. It's Scorsese, 1/2 of the Dream Team, 1/3 of Insubordinate Records, 1/4 of the Nation Gang. I've been saying that all year long, and people was like, what is he talking about? Now you know we here, the Nation Gang, man.
It's
Death, Boat Shoes, 92 Woo shit. Now you can't leave. Heavy Talk. Just listen, 13 songs. There ain't nothing. There's not a single whack joint on the joint. I promise you. It's straight up bars. It's Philly, Jersey. It's fly. I can't wait. I've been
when your irrational confidence turns into like historical proof, you get to like Jason Terry that shit. You can't tell Jason Terry shit.
This is
LeBron, and he said, "It's me versus you, and I win." And he won. What do you tell him?
This is Shawn Michaels throwing Janetti through the glass type confidence. I don't need you anymore. I need you. You know what I'm saying? You the homie. I need PR. But I'm saying we worked too hard, and for this project, it was serendipitous, man. It was divine intervention. Because if I would have dropped it when I thought to drop it, it probably doesn't get the love that it's gonna get on Friday.
Right.
And I know that now, because I wouldn't have found the artists that I found. I wouldn't have found the Matchboxes and all the other ideas that I had. It would have just been a regular drop. It came and went, and me and P would have been talking later on. Maybe we don't even think about doing Doom, but because we had that patience, you guys wouldn't have got Domination.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We wouldn't have needed it. So everything landed how it was supposed to land. And that right there, that's been the biggest takeaway. You know what I mean? Shout out to P. P designed all this, just so y'all understand. P designed what we were going to wear. He actually put this together. Shells just was like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? I would pitch him an idea. P's like, nah, I want to do it like this. I want to put the logo here. I want to do this. P did that. This is Nation Gang is not Scorsese. Nation Gang is PR the Great. It's Black. It's Big Spit Game. And it's Scorsese, man. We are a unit. When we come out swinging, and we knocking everybody down, man. That's what we say is Nation Gangs, the aches and pains. We work hard and we win, man.
So the last thing just is regarding crew dynamics, because with crew dynamics, when it does go right, when you're on a roll, you have to stay on the roll. Because crews fall when they come apart, right? So when you stay on this roll, right? As you're saying, you made this as you're making Midnight Express, you're on this roll. The roll has to continue. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's mandatory.
You're going to hear, I have for next year, 8 projects. I've already completed 3 of them. Doom, me and P, we finished 4 songs. And we have about like 3 or 4 more that have, a verse here or a hook or that have been like kind of structured. Griffin and I are about getting ready to lock back in for Griff Scorsese 3, which is the code name.
Yep.
So that'll be September. And again, I've already told P, I said, P, I need a solo project on Insubordinate Records. You know what I'm saying? Give me an EP. They want to hear you, man. And I know he been kind of hitting me with the, I don't know. I said, trust me. After this, they're going to want to hear you. They're going to want to get something from you. I've been talking to Black about the same thing.
Yep.
We're looking to expand Insubordinate. One of our things we wrote down for next year was, not Scorsese. We want to make sure that people are hearing Alex and they're hearing Jason, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying. That's a part of doing Nation Gang. I want them to hear P. I want them to hear Black.
Mm-hmm.
We got some producers who we're working on doing some projects with. I want to get them too.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm hopeful we get a panels project that I've been kind of nudging him with a stick about. You know what I mean? And just building, man. That's why I'm doing this project with Iceberg Theory and doing this project with Patches. And I want to expand my sound. And I want to most importantly, like, expand my label sound and ensure that no matter what, when you come to Insubordinate Records, you're going to find what you're looking for.
Right.
Artist-centered music, you know what I mean? That stands the test of time, that is given the proper treatment that all artists deserve. You should get a rollout. You should get video breakdowns of your raps, and you should get dope promo pieces, and you should be able to do these things versus I just tweet my link out and I hope people listen to it.
Yep.
I
hear it. So we'll see how the reaction goes. And
sure.
We'll stay in touch, man. Absolutely.
You already know, man. You guys, man, you guys hold us down. Again, I want to thank you. You know what I mean? Yep. I'm sure PR, he gonna say with his piece, but yeah, I want to thank you for this. Man, it's hard. It's hard. I'm trying to stay as like humble as possible, and I can't no more because I know we're here. I know we got something special. You know what I mean? Coming out the gate swinging like this with our first official album,
right?
It's gonna set that bar so high. It's gonna set that bar so high, and I want it set high. I want people to, when they see the next Nation Gang project, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I've been waiting for that.
Nation Gang, every song's an anthem. That's what it is. So
bro, that's the best description I've ever heard.
Hell yeah,
that was the goal.
Right.
Yeah,
that was the goal. However you're feeling, you want to escape. You want to get out of your house because you've been stuck in quarantine and you can't go nowhere. Throw boat shoes on, man.
Right.
You get some good news about your family. You want to throw Till Death on, man, and just be excited. You want to, you know what I'm saying? You want to play toast and get a drink and dance with your girl. You should be able to do that in the house when your kids go to sleep. You know what I'm saying? You feeling down because you watching the news, and throw Time for Burning on, man, and get proactive. Every song has a moment and a feeling, and that's really what the Nation Gang is about. Creating those moments, man. And I'm again, for us to get to this, and just so y'all know, because I'm gonna say this again, you getting all types of exclusives tonight. All types of exclusives. Big Spit Game 2021. That's all I'm gonna say on Insubordinate Records.
Wow, let's go.
That's coming. Y'all getting a Spit Game album, man. I gotta make it happen. I've already talked to him frequently. So yeah, so y'all are gonna get solo projects from everybody in the group in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Whether it's an EP, whether it's 3 songs, again, my man Platinum Porsche P. I gotta get him out the house a little bit. We're gonna get him together. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Black. Same thing with Speeds. Everybody's getting something.
Take us out, PR. Give us some last words. Let's do it.
I just want to say, when you press play, just know that I told you so. Just know that I told you so. When you press play, when Friday comes and you hit either download or buy or whatever the fuck it is you're doing, when you hit play on Welcome, I told you so. You're welcome.
That's it.
You're welcome.